personally feel, and especially when we talk about services, it's the people are the most critical component of that. So, and that's what we are focused on, and we are, so just to give you an example, like people, we get a lot of young architects who've done their architecture, 5-year architecture, and they come and just take 3 months of probably a BIM related training with us. And with that training, they go back to industry and probably get more than 50% salary than what probably their colleagues without BIM training would be getting. Similarly, we get a lot of young engineers fresh out of colleges. Probably there's quite a lack of technology in the colleges, and within 1 year, we find someone in the industry like yourself will pick them up from our office at double the salary. It's a loss for us, but we're still very happy to populate this, and that's the area where we are focused on, is cultivating the next leadership in technology. And that's what we love to do, and that's what we, as a service industry, we like to drive. We know across the India now, thousands of people who have gone and partner with us. We are serving them, and that's what we'll be very happy to continue doing that. So in our capacity in technology and people, that's where we like to focus and contribute ourselves to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address. I would now like to invite, sir, Dr. Ajay Pradhan.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I think we are running a little bit of against time. I'm late. Good morning, everybody. I, on behalf of Consulting Engineer Association of India, welcome everybody. I take this opportunity to thank my friend Dr. Abhay Sinha for this opportunity to collaborate and partner with CI and other partners. I think this is a fantastic opportunity for consulting engineers and other members who wanted to go out and do business. I think a lot of things have been already mentioned, and the issues, challenges by Amit in his address. What I'm going to do now, this one? This one, huh? Yeah. Can you just, yeah. So what I'm trying to do that, when you do the services in late 60s, 70s, Government of India rightly did, form some companies those time, company like Rights, company like Wapcos, company like Ircon. They're only formed to do services outside country, not in India. But somewhere we lost the steam and we couldn't do that. And some of the areas where India used to be strong and exploring and exporting services, like irrigation engineering. California irrigation system designed in Middle East, in Africa, in Latin, a lot of places. I think somewhere we lost, I think, those services, giving services at the client sites at that geographies is actually matter. What we have been doing in India, we have 50,000 global engineering design center exist in India. And we are exporting nearly 3 billion, what Amit has mentioned, $2.7 billion of thing. But I think what's the matter of fact that we are not actually visible in countries and geographies where you can provide service. We are doing remotely and all. So that is where we need to really look at. Hey, which one is this one? This one? Green. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to really take you some of the, the low-hanging fruits, you might say, unknown territories, new territories, how the Indian consulting company, if you have aspiration, a desire to go, I think this is what you look at, Sustainable Development Goal. We are already halfway through. I think still a lot of things is there. And why you wanted to do this, and if you look at the areas, they are built in, SDGs, and there is a guarantee and an agreement amongst the countries, 170 all countries will support and fund. And this is not only in one country, then in all geographies we want to do. And this is where, you look at, there is a domestic the enabler, and there is an international enabler. And then there is a fund flow goes from the national to international funding to different institutions and through different mechanisms like bonds, loans, and other things. And these are available all across through that. And you got to really look at. And this is where most of the Indian consulting companies are going out and do that. And this is a risk-free compared to go to countries where you do not know anybody, and number of issues what you would discuss that. I think this is where I like to do. Look at the kind of, I'm giving an example of the fund every year available for through these SDGs. I mean, look at water sector, look at agriculture, look at energy, transport, and they're all sectors. And this is the annual budget for SDGs. And this is coming from where? This is coming from these IFIs. Look at, this is 2022 figure. 118 or 120 billion dollar of money is being invested every year. And this will be in another 10, 15, 7, 8 years until 2030. And this is a guaranteed money is going, and this is an agreement internationally you got to do. I think Inter-American Development Bank, we are still not a member, but Amit mentioned that. But I think you can still do with the foreign partner. That is also not a problem. I think this is where I think one should look at it. Why you need to look at IFIs? Because IFIs is sitting on the high table. They sit directly with the Prime Minister, President, and the decision or your planning boards. And they also influence the policy of countries. You know, many countries they do. And that's where they also bring the fund. And when they bring the fund, they need us also, consulting engineers. And there, they need a private sector, they need an engineer, they need a procurement, all kind of things they need to implement those projects. And what are the advantages? Why you need to go and look at these projects? Besides, you do deliver global engineering. The reasons are there because, you know all why IFS. They have a standard process. They have procurement is free from all kind of interferences. They follow mostly predict processes. They invest quite a lot on technology, as we all talk about technology. I think Amit mentioned 7, 8 areas where you need to do. I only talk about Indian consulting engineer 3 factors: technology, and then there is innovation and quality. If you really focus on 3, I think Indian consulting can become a differentiate themselves from other consulting companies like multinational companies to deliver services, quality engineer, innovative project delivery. Then you have a technology as an enabler. India is a powerhouse of technology, but how much we really actually use in our engineering capacity? Very lately, many engineering consulting companies being the president, I know that what is their IT or engineering capability. I would strongly urge everyone actually to invest more on the technology, innovation, training capacity, and various what Amit mentioned, and then go ahead and do this thing. 40,000 contract every year is being actually signed by these IFIs. So you won't get any other place where you have a single, but you got to really look at what are the, why you need to focus on that. You got to really long-term investment. You need a country-specific. You need to increase the number of wins being there also. There are a number of opportunities. I think I'm not going to do it in with the pursuit of time. The steps which you require actually, you need a government support. You need also dedicated resources of companies. We need, as a consulting engineers, we can help you through SEPC to get into there. And that's where you need. So these are outcomes which you might get, how to position yourself. And there are a number of issues like how to, every IFI has a desk, India desk, and the director designated for India. So that should be connected through ministry and SEPC, and we'll be an enabler to bring them and help you to that. What is happening in Africa, which country, what kind of money is going, you should get it from there, and also Indian MISR or any other IFIs. These are the things, Exim Bank, and I think Amit has mentioned, I'm not going to repeat. Doing business in different geographies, unknown number territories, and this is the best instrument for all of us to capture out of $120 billion next 8-10 years. I think this is all I want to say. Thank you very much. I really appreciate SEPC and Amit for setting the tone and taking us. I think I would encourage everyone to come out with your issues which you are facing. If you are wanted to go out and do business, we'd be very happy to really work with you as a member with a member organizations, and I think we'll take it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to now invite our esteemed guest of honor, Shri S. Senthilnathan, Director EP Services, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, to deliver a special address.
Dignitaries on the dais and my dear friends of this august audience, very good morning to all of you. Sitting here and going through all these wonderful insights in the morning, I was wondering, am I an engineer sitting here? No. Am I an architect? Most definitely not. I couldn't draw a straight line in school, can't imagine now. I am a student of psychology. Can I read minds of people sitting here? To some extent, yes, but not too professional in that either. But I find myself in a very familiar space as a bureaucrat, running against time because our break is incipient, and trying to make sense of things going around me and trying to find solutions that would suit to the maximum number of people here. So, yes, I'm in familiar ground, but I still stand as a novice, trying to gather wisdom from all you learned persons, academics, business leaders here, trying to understand a sector which was rightly pointed out earlier by another speaker that has been not given the attention as much as it should have. The Commerce Secretary a couple of days ago did a very candid admission that when we talk of exports, we talk more in terms of merchandise and we don't give as much attention to the services. Even when we talk about services, it is the IT and IT-enabled services which takes much of the attention, but the rest of the services which cover a very wide spectrum are not given as much attention as they should be. And sitting here, going through so many insightful kind of findings, I find myself reflecting on what could be done and what is to be done, and a lot of ground to be covered. As a novice, I do understand that we live in cities, most of the world will live in cities, and when we are going to go on an expansive population, at least till another couple of, or more than that, 3-4 decades, most of this population is going to live in cities. And these cities, mainly in the emerging markets, and even the expanding cities in the larger markets, have to have sustainable infrastructure, engineering solutions which would be able to house all of them, transport people across, and also provide sustainable solutions to all these teeming millions, if not billions. And in doing that, this entire sector, I am very happy that SEPC could kind of partner with the consulting engineers and architecture bodies to come up with such an important conclave that ties all these sectors together, because all of them are integrally connected. And I'm sure going through these 3 panel discussions, we will have a lot of insights that will enrich each one of us. And as a policy-making person, I would be happy to understand the nuances of these insights and how, as policymakers, we can provide an enabling kind of a ecosystem, be it in kind of finding solutions in the sphere of education and how to keep the education ecosystem equipped to churn out employable professionals that are the need of the industry. Or, as was rightly pointed out, in terms of legislation, say the engineers bill, or kind of updating the chartered engineers mandates to ensure this continued learning provides this country with sufficient number of professionals who can serve the country and also export the services across the world. Further, I'm also been made aware of the situation where there is a need to kind of provide Indian companies a recognition in a way that can underpin the mission of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, wherein Indian companies have to take root by doing important projects in India, which can be showcased to gain more projects across the world. So these are important things that we require to do, along with developing design standards and educational standards and also professional standards, which are world-class, if not even better than any other standards in the world. These are certain building blocks which I understand will go a long way in kind of developing our capacities and ensuring the potential of doubling, if not tripling, our exports from this sector to across the world, as we realize the Prime Minister's dream of achieving $1 trillion in exports in services sectors itself. This cannot be done by ITS alone, and we require all the other services which have immense potential to rise up to this challenge. And to this end, I feel we would definitely find important insights today. And I wish all of you a very enriching sessions. I think 3 panel sessions are planned. All of these sessions would be very, very insightful and enriching. And I'm sure we would get good insights, even for the policy perspective, for how to go forward. And I also want to wish the Council of Architecture on their Golden Jubilee here. And without taking much time, I thank you once again for this opportunity, for being here with you, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your deeply insightful reflections and sharings. May I now request Dr. Abhay Sinha to hand over a small memento to our eminent guests as a token of appreciation. Shri S. Senthilnathan. Dr. Ajay Pradhan. Mr. Bhaskar Neogi. Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Ajay Pradhan to hand over mementos to other eminent guests, please. Mr. Amit Sharma. Professor Abhijit Shirodkar. Dr. Abhay Sinha. Mr. Chakresh Jain. Thank you, sir. It is my honor to now invite Mr. Bhaskar Neogi, Managing Director, SABS Architects and Engineers Private Limited, to propose a vote of thanks.
Yeah, very good morning to all the esteemed guests on the dais, other distinguished speakers, participants of the Ministry of Commerce, professionals from the AEC industry, and other virtual attendees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy that the Services Exports Promotion Council has taken the lead to organize this conclave on construction and design engineering consultancy with CAI and Council of Architecture together. CAI and COA are the key forces and services having a close link with the global AEC industry. India is focusing on an export-led growth, and it is a high time that our country embarks on a journey to showcase itself globally. Like many of us started our professional career with the drafting board, set squares and T-squares. Then CAD came in. In fact, Dr. Jan was a pioneer who introduced AutoCAD to most of us architects at that time. We called it computer-aided design at that time, but it's mostly computer-aided drafting. So now a much bigger paradigm shift is happening today. We have technologies like BIM, which was initially called Building Information Modeling. Now it is called Building Information Management. Then we have the concept of digital twin, which has come up. The concept of collaboration in the cloud, VR, etc. Mr. Amit talked about integrated design thinking, 3D, 4D. We have moved on to 5D, 7D. We are talking about LOD 400 models, LOD 500 models now. The beauty of all these emerging technologies is that consultants from all over the globe, they can work and collaborate together on a single project. So as a consultant, I can flag my issues at the end of the day, and by the time when I come back in the morning, some consultant sitting in a different geographical location, different time zone, he could have solved these issues and resolved it for me. We cannot actually afford to miss this opportunity. Professor Shirodkar mentioned that there are 123,000 architects in this country, and I believe there are almost 500 colleges of architecture which are churning out architects every year. So workforce is ready. We need to ensure that they're correctly trained to deal with the global challenges. And I believe, as he mentioned, NAT and COA are doing that. Professional competency examination, which he also mentioned, will go a big way for this. Mr. Nathan talked about sustainable cities and urban infrastructures in the developing world, where we, as from India, we can definitely play a big role in that. So as we come to the end of the inaugural session, I would like to thank Dr. Abhay Sinha, Dr. Pradhan, Mr. Amit Sharma, Dr. Nathan, Mr. Chakresh Jain, and Professor Shirodkar for all the valuable inputs and deliberations on this topic. I also look forward to these upcoming sessions and sincerely thank all the ambassadors and high commissioners of India in various countries for sending in their video messages, and some of them will also be participating live. Okay, and lastly, thanks to the chairman and vice chairman of SEPC who could not be present here today, but thanks to Dr. Abhay Sinha and the entire SEPC team for all the hard work, and let's hope all the deliberations and proceedings in the next sessions will lay the stage for the roadmap forward. Thank you, everyone, and please join us for a cup of tea.
Thank you. This brings us to the end of the inaugural session. Thank you to this esteemed guest of honor and our guest today. Tea and coffee and snacks are being served, but I request you all to please bring them back to your tables. We will begin immediately for the first session of the day.